Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ricky Hodges, owner of RSJ Insurance Agency here in California. But we do business all across the country. I hope that today is treating you well, and that all is well with you and your family. Listen, I wanted to jump on today and just share some information with you uh, about what to do and what not to do when planning a funeral. So, a lot of my clients, we sell life insurance and pre-need insurance. And so pre-need is obviously you're paying for your funeral ahead of time. It's completely separate from life insurance. So I believe that you ought to have both. You ought to have life insurance and pre-need because pre-need is for the funeral home and the cemetery, and life insurance should be for your family. But what we're discussing today is some of the things that happen, the what to do and what not to do when planning a funeral. Now, you need to know that not all funeral homes are made the same. Some funeral homes are better than others. Some are worse than others. It's in between. So you have to know, which funeral homes that you're dealing with. Some funeral homes have been in business a long time and have been doing terrible business for a long time, whereas others have been in business a long time and been doing, amazing work. Others have been in business a short time doing terrible work, and others have been in business a short time doing great work. So you know where you are, which funeral homes are in your area and in your neighborhood. You know what's what, who's who, and how they all operate. So as for uh, myself, some of the things that I've learned just from dealing with, my clients, and even on a personal level, just dealing with family members who passed away. Particularly my uncle. My uncle passed away in February of 2023, and we went down to the funeral home. Thank God we did have insurance. We also had some cash in the bank, which made a huge difference. But one of the first things I realized when I was planning my uncle's funeral, the first thing that the mortuary said, "Hey, just sign the paperwork and we'll go down and pick them up." And they were very persistent about that. I mean, they were just like calling, "Hey, hey, hey, we need you to sign a release paperwork so we can go down and pick them up." But in my mind, obviously, I'm an insurance agent. Got a fairly successful insurance agency. I'm a businessman, and so it kind of disturbed me at the fact that they continue to hound us about signing the paperwork to go pick up the body. And we hadn't sat down, we hadn't had any discussion. And this was a referral from another family member to this funeral home. So we had not had any discussion about, what the pricing would be and what the fees associated are. Any of that. All they said is, "Hey, call. Yeah, we can get them. We can take them. Well, just sign the paperwork and come pick up the body." I did not do that. My uncle had passed away in a area where he had to be taken by the coroner, by the local coroner. So he was down at the coroner's office, and we were still trying to figure out all the logistics and everything that we needed to do to, hey, get the funeral plan. So I didn't sign the paperwork with the funeral home to go down there. My grandmother had placed me over it. "Ricky, handle it. Go do what you need to do." I want to take the stress off of her. And so he just remained down at the coroner's office. So I set an appointment with the funeral home for me to go down there and to meet with them to, talk business. Because, hey, the funeral industry is a business. And again, I was disturbed at the fact that they continue to call me and press me about signing my uncle over. And so we go in there, in the room. Obviously, I didn't even reveal that I had an insurance policy. I didn't reveal that I wanted to pay in cash. I just wanted to talk numbers. Okay, how much is this funeral going to cost us? And they came in and conference room and had their folders and had everything. And after we got done talking and figuring some things out, they came with the price sheet. She went, left the conference room, came back with everything typed up with the price sheet, and the price was just through the roof. It was like almost, you know, everything she had was like $11,000 on it. Say, "Hey, what is all this?" I mean, they threw all the wheels and bells and whistles at us, $11,000. And she's like, "This is our best price. This is our package. This is what we can do." And I kind of felt like a little disrespected because being in insurance. Hey, I know the business. I've had clients. This is not the first funeral that I've had to plan, but again, this is a referral to a funeral home that a family member had used, and so I looked at those numbers, and I said, "Apps, this is too high. We won't be able to do this." And thankfully, being in the insurance industry, you have a lot of connections. You know a lot of different funeral homes and funeral directors. And so I called my buddy. I said, give me a few minutes. I need to make another call to my friend's funeral home to figure out what's what. And so I went outside and I called my buddy, and he did not answer. He didn't answer. He should have answered. He should have answered, man. If we talk about this, we go back and forth about this all the time. But he just didn't answer the phone. Couldn't get a hold of him. And when I went back inside of that funeral home, the girl was there, and one of the owners was there in the room, and they had revised the paperwork, and they went from about 11,000 down to about 5,600 for the and it was just a service. Um, Obviously all the fees and everything that they're associated with, but it went down from 11,000 to 5,600 just like that. And what I saw is that a lot of people, get done like this. You get done in, and the only leverage that I had against them to lower that price was the fact that they did not have my uncle's body. That was the only leverage I had. Had I signed that paperwork for them to go and pick up my uncle at that funeral home, had I signed the paperwork and they would have picked him up, they would have had him, they would have had us. We wouldn't have had a choice. Because it had been about a week or so in between the time that my uncle died and went to the coroner's office and that we had the initial meeting at the funeral home. So had we said, no, I don't want to pay $11,000 for this funeral, this is too much money, they would have said, well, we've had the body 7 days. We're going to calculate the fees. We had to go pick the body up from the coroner's office. We had to bring him here. We had to embalm him. We had to storage fees. It would have been probably the same amount of money that we paid for the funeral. So they would have had us. The only reason that they lowered that price and didn't charge us 11,000 is because they did not have possession of his body. So what am I saying? Wait until you have a price, until you have a signed agreement as to how much the funeral is going to be. Don't go in saying, "Oh, I've got $100,000 life insurance policy. Oh, I have a $400,000 life insurance policy." Go in and negotiate the price first. And again, remember, not all funeral homes are like that. You have some great men and women who are funeral home owners who've been serving the community for years, who have taken care of people who didn't have any money, who let people who got beat because the family said they were going to pay this and didn't do it. So I'm not talking about you, sir, ma'am, if you were watching this video, but I'm talking about those funeral homes that we all know that are out there that are going to try to get you. But even still, with the good funeral homes, with the good funeral home owners and directors, you still need to talk business because it's a business. Business is business. So before you sign that body away over to a funeral home, make sure that that's the funeral home that you want to be at. Now, obviously, this is talking about unexpected deaths or unplanned deaths where they weren't sick, you didn't know it was coming, um, and funeral homes that you may not have used before. But this is just business 101. Let's get a price together so we can figure it out so we don't have to, go back and forth. So you're not costing me extra money because what'll happen is, again, as I said, you have to pay the pickup fee, funeral director professional services fee, as they call it, embalming fee, storage fee. You have to pay that money. Then you're gonna have another funeral home come and pick up the body from that funeral home, and they're gonna charge you again at least the professional services fee at that funeral home, and all the preparation fees, and so you would end up paying double. So my recommendation to you is that if you know that you're just not going to be rational, you're not going to be in your right mind, you need to take someone with you that can. Everybody has that cousin, that uncle, that auntie, that family member that can handle business and that you trust, that can speak for you, or they can hear things that you can't hear, see things that you can't see in a moment of grief. So The best plan of action is actually just to plan out your funeral and just to get your pre-need plan. That way, it takes the stress off your family, takes the stress off of everybody. You don't have to do any negotiation because everything was done up front. And so, I hope that this video is helpful for you. I'll be putting out a few more of these, a couple of videos a day, just sharing my experience in the insurance industry and just trying to help people. But I hope that this has been beneficial for you. I hope this has been helpful for you, and that if you're dealing with grief, know that we're praying for you. We love you, and that the Lord will provide and the Lord will comfort you and He will be with you. But know that the funeral industry is a business, and so when I get clients who call me, that's one of the first things I tell them. Like, listen, here's your policy. Let's go ahead and put the claim in. But don't go down to that funeral home and say you have a $500,000 policy. Just go in there and talk business first, and then reveal on the back end how you plan on paying for it, whether you plan on using insurance or whether you plan on paying cash or whatever the case may be. So there's some things that go into funeral homes that they'll put an extra percentage on top of whatever the total price is if you're using insurance, which is standard across the board at funeral homes. But anyhow, hey, listen, God bless you. I hope this video has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us at 562-204-6120. That's 562-204-6120. Be happy to answer any questions that you may have. You can call or text that number. Hey, God bless you. Have a good day, and I'll see you soon.